Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. It's Team Eunis today. And we're hopping in to talk to you about when is the time appropriate to scale your business. If you think you're there, go to talkwithbecky.com. Let's chat about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so this is like a good topic because we totally got in your face.
Oh yeah, we had our own little example the past couple of days. We're trying to hire somebody in a service type of situation, and
yeah, not an employee.
Nope, not an employee. And we called him in. Great interview. He made a great impression. Very articulate. Pretty much had us sold. And there was a breakdown. The issue is that he said, "Oh, in a couple of days, I will."
No, he said one day. I'll get back to you tomorrow.
It was. In one day, I'll get back to you tomorrow. Around the same time. I'll pull up all these particular, to develop the proposal. I'll pull, the information that we need to, show us to make a decision. And a day later, no call. Then, following day, we said, "Oh, we'll give him a little time." Following day, still no call. So Becky did a follow-up, and he still, actually a verbal follow-up, still no communication, left a message, and then 6 hours after that message, he replied. So.
And his reply was, his message on my voicemail was, "I'm so sorry, I was so busy today, running all over the place that I was here, I was there with other clients, and I just didn't get an opportunity to do it until now."
Yeah, one-man shop, even though I'm sure he has some support, apparently he's still trying to do everything himself.
But, and listen, and then...
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, but then he also had indicated via text that he was available at this time and this time, which is totally fine. I respect that. You block, you're blocking your time. So here's when I can talk to you. Give me two choices. I picked one. We should have left it at that. No, his thing was, yeah, because I'm going off grid. I'm way too busy in between this time and this time.
So now how are we going to lock into a deal with you if we have to be concerned that things aren't going to be timely, or that you're not going to follow up, or that the communication issue? Now this is a sales-oriented scenario, a service-oriented scenario. I don't know.
It's discerning because I like him a lot, and he's very knowledgeable, and he's very, astute about it, and he's got everything, but I can't trust the fact that the value is going to be there for me for this service. And so unfortunately, I'm not going to go with him. But here's how, the thing is that we are looking at this from a standpoint of doing what we do. And so it's kind of like a curse. We can never shut that off. But we're so passionate about this because he's amazing. He's literally amazing at what he does. But he's at that point where his growth is like, he's at the ceiling, and what he's doing is, number one, he's notifying me that he doesn't have enough time for me. That's not a good thing. Blocking time is one thing, and telling me this is when I'm available and this is when I'm available is perfect. Not, I don't have time for you and this, that, and thing. Maybe that sounds like common sense, but it's not always common practice, because in his eyes, he's being truthful with me. But
it's also part of his charm, his charisma.
It's
his way of selling, his selling technique.
It is, but
it's not the right technique.
No. And what it also shows me is that he's spreading himself too thin, because he was running all over the state yesterday, back and forth. Okay, but if we implement scaling this business for you, number one, you take away the overwhelm, the stress, and that chasing on a hamster wheel of getting back to me. I gotta get back to her. I gotta get back to this one. I get back. Okay, because it's not scaled. It's not a systematic approach. And then, the other thing is that you cannot grow exponentially, and so you're not reaching financial freedom by doing what you're doing. Because number one, now you lost a client. You lost a significant sum of money because I'm not coming with you. Now, granted, I'm probably a dime a dozen, and it's the law of numbers, and he'll find somebody else. But in the same token,
it's a sale miss.
I can't now refer him out to someone else because my reputation is on that. And I'm not going to refer that, are you?
No,
I
can't.
He's wonderful, though, and I feel so badly.
Yeah, there's a certain point in time is when okay, when to scale the business? Well, in this particular case, he needs a little bit of help. So you might have to ease into another employee, handling the organization in the office, making sure that everybody's being communicated in regards to the customers. So even if you have to ease into that, spending a little bit of money, part-time help, then into full-time help, then obviously staffing up depending on what area of your business needs the help.
Right, and we do know other people in the industry, same industry, that have scaled their business very, very successfully. So the point is, sometimes as business owners, we don't realize when it's time. And also, I think the biggest part is, I know with us, when we first started out and we were like doing everything, like, did you do that? I don't know. Did you do that? Let's go check. I don't know. But like, we were scared to scale because we were afraid of losing control, first and foremost, and we were afraid that other people that were going to help us scale our business and streamline our processes was not going to do it like the way we would do it. That was our biggest fear. Number one, we weren't going to be able to afford it. Number two, they weren't going to like speak the way we would and do it exactly the way we would. But
let's get to do a training.
But there's a system in place. Talkwithbecky.com. We have to change that URL. I feel like we need to change talkwithbecky.com.
Talkwithericandbecky.com.
Yeah,
or
Talk with Becky and Eric. Who are you coming in on the front line of that? You just invite yourself in and you go before me?
Hey, what's all about?
A system in place to guarantee that the scaling works the way you want it to work. And part of the training that we instill, or that we actually, come out and help you do, we implement at talkwithbecky.com, is that we hear it from you. We don't cookie cut scale this thing. Okay, because that's never going to work. What works in our business scaling is not going to work in someone else's business. It depends on personality. It depends on service or product. It depends on
industry.
Exactly. So we're not going to cookie cutter this whole process.
I mean, something's kind of uniform
most
across
certainly.
the board. But
right,
then
they're
at that
universal.
point, you have to tweak it to your individual industry or your business and the like.
Exactly, because each business is different, even if you're in the same industry, because each owner is different. But the system has to be put in place. Scaling is not an option when you want to grow, but growth does not mean that you don't offer yourself, you don't offer your same level of expert, you don't offer your same level of customer service and how you treat your customers. I mean, we white gloved our accounting clients when we had the firm, but each and every touch point in that firm in the scaling process was also white gloved. Our team supported that white glove, but our team also knew what they had to do, and that's where I think scaling gets very scary to people.
Oh, absolutely.
And we eliminate that. We teach you how to eliminate that in our 6-week program. So we invite you to go to talkwithbecky.com. If you're feeling those pains, right? Like if you know that you're there and like you're just like, oh, I don't know because I got to spend some money. But if you...
We can plan cash flow as well.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. Like if you can see the value of scaling, it may cost a little bit initially, but you're going to earn that back twofold, threefold, whatever that's going to be. Just by scaling. And scaling doesn't just mean hiring employees.
No.
But there's many other aspects to scaling your business.
Absolutely.
I mean, what do you think is the best starting point?
I think that the main thing is to make sure what you have is working successfully. So in other words, what we're talking about today, communication, very important, customer service, those particular touch points, analyzing that.
Your current system is operating correctly, because the first signal is when you've been operating this way and it's rocking and rolling, it's moving and grooving, and then all of a sudden it's not. Because now what's happening is you're growing.
Something wrong.
And you cannot maintain the level of service or the level of satisfaction for your product or service to keep going forward. You find yourself chasing, you find yourself making mistakes, you find yourself dropping the ball. You don't really know what's happening. It's growth.